crafty friends. It's Courtney Brickner with the Crafty Brick. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so excited to share a little something that I'm testing out today. I want to try sublimating on this dark cotton shirt. So I have done sublimation on non-polyester fabrics in the past, and I used this clear HTV that I got from Atlanta Vinyl, but I tried it on a white shirt. So it was a white cotton shirt. I put this clear vinyl or this clear HTV on, and then I pressed my Sublimate design onto the clear vinyl, and it worked great. But what I haven't done is tried to use that with a dark shirt that's not polyester. So today what I want to do is try and use Leonardo Design Studio. I want to create a design, make an offset that's white. So I'll have white vinyl and then the clear HTV on top, and then sublimate my design on top of that. So I want to see how that works. I want y'all to come along and try it out with me, and we're going to see how it goes. So first we will jump into the computer into Leonardo Design Studio, and I'll show you how I plan to design it. And I haven't done this, so I really don't know if it's going to work out, but we're going to see. So let's jump into the computer and get started. Okay, here we are in Leonardo Design Studio. First thing I'm going to do is go up here to File, click on File, and import the image that we want, which is right here. We are going to import it as a print and cut image and click Next. We don't need to change the mask tolerance, the color range, or any drawing tools. And everything is good right here. We're going to just click Next and finished. So then it imports in here to our mat. And what I want to do first is actually create a contour around it, a print and cut contour. The thing is, so if it prints and cuts like the way I've just imported it, I don't want that T, H, and E to cut out separately, and that's what it's going to do right here if I'm cutting that out. And the scissors are going to be separate, the tape is going to be separate. I really don't want them all to cut in separate pieces. What I'm going to do is just create a slight offset so that I can get all that middle piece, so it will all cut out in one piece. I'm going to actually make it even a little bit closer. Okay, so now everything here will cut out in one piece. So I'm going to click Apply, and we're good with that. Let's go ahead. I actually want this to be 10 inches in width. And you'll see that this is slightly faded. It's because I'm off of the cutting mat area. So let's go ahead and turn it, because we want all of it to be able to be printed on our page. And if it's slightly off of the page, then it's going to be out of the margins of being able to print, and we don't want that. So we've got our print and cut all set up. The other thing that I want to do is now create another offset of this. So we're going to highlight it, click build another contour. We're actually, this time, instead of doing a print and cut logo, we're going to click an editable contour. The reason I want to do this is because I don't want all of those cutouts right here, like below the tape and where the scissors are. So I'm going to build one more contour so that it actually fills in all of those holes. So it's just one big piece. So let's go ahead and click Apply there. I'm going to take that contour that we just built. Let me highlight that one. I'm going to move it off of our mat, because the first thing that I would like to do is go ahead and send this design to cut. So I've got my print design right here, and then I've also got my cutting contour there. So this is the first part that's going to print and cut. This is the part that we're going to be printing with our sublimation paper. So this is the part that we're going to be sublimating, okay? So first I'm going to send this to the printer right here. I've got my Sawgrass 1000 selected, and I'm going to click Print. Now, after we print it, then we will take it to the machine and we'll cut it, okay? Okay, now that we have our design printed out, let's go back to our design here. Click back. Now we're going to move our print and cuts part off, and we're going to move our, it's under print and cut, but we don't want print and cut. So we're going to unselect print and cut. So this is actually something that we are going to cut out. So this is what we're going to cut our white HTV and our clear HTV. So this, we will send the design and we'll send it to our cutter. Okay, still make sure that mirror is selected because we are going to have to put this on with our sublimated design, but we're sending this part to the cutter and we're going to cut it twice because we're cutting one with the clear HTV and then one with the white HTV. So we click send to cutter and then I will meet you over at Juliet and we'll get everything cut. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now that we've got everything set up in the computer, I'm going to cut both of my offsets, one with the white, one with the clear HTV, and I have printed out my sublimation image with my sublimation printer, and I'm going to cut them and then we will press this image onto our shirt. I need to cut this also so that I've got the offset on this as well. So we've got it all ready to go. I'm excited to see if it's going to work out. So let's get all of our cutting done and then we'll go to the press. Typically when I cut with Juliet, I do not use a mat because if you've got a material with backing, you don't have to use a mat. But this time, since my design was actually 11 inches long, it was a little bit too close to the edge. So when I put in this vinyl, it just kind of fell out. It got messed up. So I did have to use a mat this time. But if you're using a roll, you definitely don't have to use a mat. But since this was a 12-inch piece of material and an 11-inch design, it was just too close and it slipped out of the rollers. When you're cutting paper, something that doesn't have a backing, you do have to use a mat. Okay, now we've got all three of our pieces. We've got our clear HTV, we have our white HTV, and then we've also got our sublimated design cut out. So now we are ready to put this on our shirt, press it on, and see can we sublimate on this dark fabric with the clear HTV and white vinyl on dark fabric. So let's check it out. So one thing I want to do before I press it is just to make sure that all my layers are cut correctly and going to line up. So I'm going to put the white down first, and then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper just so that this isn't sticking while I'm trying to line it up. So I'm going to leave out one little side over here outside of the parchment paper, and I'm going to line up my white HTV around the design just so I can see that everything is cut correctly. All right, so then I'll press down this right side, pull out the parchment paper. Since I've seen where it was lined up, so it's right, I just use the parchment paper so it's not sticking because it's hard to place it in the right position when it's sticking. Then I've got my sublimated design. I cut it out so that it fits right in here. So we are good to go on as far as pressing. And you know, I didn't have to cut it out with this offset. I could have just left the design the way it was, just, you know, cut a rectangle around the design, but I wanted to make sure that it actually fit exactly inside my offset, and I wouldn't have been able to see that because if I use this paper and I just had the rectangle around it, I wouldn't have been able to see exactly where my offset was. I could have guessed and I probably could have gotten it very close, but I wanted it to be exact. So that's why I just made a little offset on here so that it could fit exactly inside the HTV and be perfect in there. So now I've got my press turned on, it's warming up, and then we're gonna press this on. I'll have to remove each layer, but I'll keep the bottom one And I know that everything's cut correctly, so it'll just be easier to line it all up. All right, so I'm warming my press up to 400 to get to where the sublimation temp needs to be, but while it's warming up, I can go ahead and press on these other 2 layers. So let's lay this on. We'll put our white layer on first. Let's get the middle. All right, so we're gonna place this on first. Let's get that on. Oh, you know what? I didn't even do my pre-press. Let's pre-press. I'm just doing a quick press because since we're layering, we just need to tack it down, so just a few seconds. Now let's put the other layer on. Just another few seconds here because we're going to do our final press at the end. Okay. Now we'll wait for it to reach our 400 degrees and then put our sublimated piece on. All right, let's tape our design down onto our shirt. Are we good with the sizing? All right. All right, cover it with some protective paper. Go ahead and press, and let's see what we get. All right, let's see. Take off our tape. Look at that. The shirt worked. It's sublimated. This is so cool. So I sublimated on dark fabric using clear HTV and white vinyl together. And this is what we have. So exciting. So it can be done. Woohoo! So here's our finished shirt. I do notice just a few areas where it kind of looks like it might be a little bit cracked. And I think that's because the ink from the sublimation didn't have the total pressure with the vinyl. And I think the vinyl was a little bit just wrinkled. So there are some little spots that might look like the ink didn't adhere all the way inside those lines. But overall, I think it actually is a really good project. Okay, so here is my final product. you'll see it's a little bit shiny, so it's a little bit different than just using regular vinyl or regular sublimation. If you're doing polyester fabric, it does have a little bit of a shiny feel. It definitely feels more like vinyl than you know, a sublimation project would, but it's dark fabric, it's 100% cotton fabric, and it worked. So I used white vinyl, clear vinyl, and sublimation design. So if you need to do a project and you need a dark shirt, it's an option. I feel like it's just different than sublimation because it's shiny and it feels like vinyl. But you know, you can't always have the sublimation feel if you're not using the polyester fabric. So this is an option. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so that you don't miss anything crafty, because I'm here every week talking about something crafty and sharing content with you, and I really appreciate you spending some of your time with me. I'll be here again next week. Until then, stay crafty, my friends. Bye.